Hey everyone, welcome back to Ujexanti. In this series, we try to understand whether the current rally of Bitcoin resembles more with 2019 scenario or with 2020-2021 scenario. Although it's impossible to predict Bitcoin's short-term price action, we can look at a couple of macroeconomic data and technical analysis insights in order to compare the current rally with the last two rallies. And we know that these two rallies, 2019 rally, which we call a bear market rally, and the rally of 2020 and 2021, the parabolic rally, had many differences. And we delve into those differences in separate parts of this series. And in today's part, we are going to talk about the new all-time high, and we will compare nominal versus real all-time highs. Please check the description of this video to find the links to previous parts. And now we will start the discussion of new all-time highs in nominal terms. Let's get rid of the drawings. In nominal terms, Bitcoin had a new all-time high in this rally. It was back in March, specifically the week of March 11. Here it was. And we know that nominal all-time highs is important because from the perspective of technical analysis, we rarely use real figures. We concentrate on nominal figures. And for Bitcoin, that's the case. Almost no one concentrates and sticks to real value of Bitcoin. We don't exclude the inflation and we look at the nominal value of Bitcoin. So in 2019, if we compare the last two rallies, the 2019 and 2021, we see that Bitcoin couldn't reach a new all-time high in this rally. However, the other rally, 2020 and 2021, Bitcoin, of course, crossed its new all-time high and went to have a much higher new all-time high. It was $69,000. And it was in November of 2021. And another interesting thing is that retail investors, the newcomers to crypto market, they concentrate on nominal values of Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies. So it's important for us to pay attention to nominal values because this is the attractive part for retail investors. When Bitcoin crosses its all-time high in nominal terms, this is when retail investors start to pay more attention to Bitcoin. And that was the case in 2020 and 2021. And we see here that when Bitcoin was almost at new all-time highs in 2020, we see that for a couple of weeks, Bitcoin had a resistance zone, kind of. It couldn't break its all-time high easily. The rally was very strong. Then a few weeks of consolidation at 20K, 1920K. And after that, again, the strong rally continued. So when Bitcoin breaks its all-time high, mainstream media starts to pay extra attention to Bitcoin's price. And Bitcoin happens to be in many new articles. And that is the reason that retail investors start to pile in. That's what we saw in 2020, 2021. This was in November of 2020. The moment when Bitcoin crossed its all-time high, $20,000, and continued the strong rally. And from nominal terms, from the perspective of nominal all-time highs, we had a new all-time high this year in this rally. However, we are yet to see a continuation of this rally. we see that the new all-time high was approximately $4,000 or $5,000 more than the last one. We had 69K in November of 2021, and we had close to 74K this March. So less than $5,000 of difference. And after that, Bitcoin had a correction. If we compute from the new all-time high, we will see that Bitcoin has corrected for 28% since. Earlier this year, when Bitcoin traded in 50 to 60K range, a lot of people anticipated that if Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, a lot of new investors, retail investors, will pile in and the rally will be continued. Very similar to 2020 scenario. However, we had something else. It didn't unfold the same way. We had a new all-time high, which was $5,000 more than the old one. However, from that moment on, Bitcoin started a correction, and we have 28% drawdown from the highs. And if we go to look at on-chain data, we will see something not very bullish. Here in this chart, we have the new addresses for Bitcoin, the number of new addresses, which is in orange golden line, and we have Bitcoin's price in the black line. As we can see, starting from September of 2023, the number of new addresses just plummeted. We had more than 600,000 new addresses for Bitcoin back in September of 2023. And now, as of June, we have approximately 260,000 new addresses for Bitcoin. And as you can see, this is the least number of new addresses since 2018, 6 years. And we are very close to break this number. It trades at the lows of 2018. It doesn't trade, but it sits at lows of 2018. And before that, that was 2016 that we had something lower than 240K. And this is very bearish. My best guess is that tight monetary policy have an impact. And people and companies, households and companies, they start to feel the 5.5% interest rate. They start to feel the quantitative tightening. Because remember that interest rates and everything in monetary policy, quantitative tightening, the interest rate decision, everything works in lags. And the Federal Reserve reached 5.5% in policy rate 1 year ago approximately. And we know from the academic papers that the monetary policy affects in 16 to 24 months. So we may start to feel the effects of quantitative tightening and 5.5% interest rate. This is my best guess. We might have some other reasons to explain this very surprising action. For example, maybe geopolitical risks also play important role. Because as you might remember, it was back in Q4 of 2023 when geopolitical risks started to escalate. So from the perspective of nominal new all-time highs, we can state that we are similar to 2020-2021 rally. However, part of putting new all-time high here, it's not similar to this part because here we had a very smooth transition from 20K to new all-time highs. However, here, Bitcoin in 2024 hit a new all-time high, and after that, the rally faded off, at least as of now. We may have a continuation, no one knows. However, it's already 4 months that Bitcoin only corrected, and there is no continuation of a rally. So, from that perspective, it's not similar to 2020, 2021 scenario. And now we can have a look at real all-time highs and the real value of Bitcoin. By saying real, as we know from economics, it means that inflation is excluded from it. First of all, let's have a look at the value of Bitcoin's prior all-time high. It was very close to $69,000, and it was November of 2021. If we go to the calculator of Federal Reserve, here we have a CPI inflation calculator. Here we can input Bitcoin's value, nominal value of $69,000. The month was November. The year was 2021. By doing this computation, we want to calculate the purchasing power of one Bitcoin in 2024. So, to get the real new all-time high, we should input the prior all-time high, 69K. That was November 2021. One Bitcoin, which is 69K in 2021, has the same buying power as 78K in 2024. Bitcoin should hit 78K in order to have a new real all-time high. As we can see, we had a nominal all-time high, which was 74K. However, we are yet to have a real all-time high, new all-time high. And this number can be interpreted in another way. One Bitcoin in 2021, in November of 2021, would buy you $69,000 worth of goods and services. And in 2024, in order to buy the same basket of goods and services, you need more than 69K because of the inflation. In fact, you need 78K according to the Federal Reserve's CPI data. However, as you know, there are certain things that are excluded from CPI calculations. For example, mortgages are excluded from the CPI calculation. And we know that a lot of people pay mortgages, and mortgages went up dramatically because of the interest rate. In some regions, they doubled. So we might assume that that number, 78K, is much higher for households because CPI is not inclusive. It doesn't include everything. For example, the biggest exclusion is mortgages. So if you are interested in the purchasing power of Bitcoin, you should look at real values of Bitcoin. And as we saw, Bitcoin didn't hit new real all-time high this year in this rally. And another chart that we can look at is Bitcoin divided by gold. Here we measure Bitcoin's price in gold because gold is a hard asset. It cannot be printed and its inflation rate is low and it's relatively fixed. And we know that over centuries, gold preserved its purchasing power very well. So that's why it will be prudent to look at Bitcoin's price in gold if we want to understand the real purchasing power of Bitcoin. In nominal terms, we had a new all-time high. However, as we see, Bitcoin divided by gold chart suggests that Bitcoin didn't have a new all-time high. with respect to gold. So the prior all-time high was 37. One Bitcoin could buy 37 ounces of gold. However, we see that in this rally, the maximum that we got was 34, 3 ounces less than in 2021. And right now, that number plummeted to 23. So in USD terms, Bitcoin had 28% correction. However, in gold terms, it had 33% correction, a little bit more than 28. So again, this chart just tells us that the purchasing power of one Bitcoin, even at 74K, was lower than one Bitcoin could buy in 2021 when it traded at 69K. In sum, then, we can conclude that the picture is not very clear because we have two types of all-time highs. We have real and nominal. In real, we exclude the rate of inflation. Bitcoin should hit 78K in order to hit a new real all-time high. And that's based on the Federal Reserve's CPI calculator that we used. However, remember that CPI is not perfect because there are a lot of goods and services that are excluded from the basket of consumer price index. For example, mortgages, which constitute a big part of spending for a lot of people, they are not there. They are excluded. And we know that mortgages increased dramatically if it's not fixed rate, if it's adjustable rate mortgage. It increased dramatically because of the interest rate. That's why we can also look at Bitcoin's price in gold, which again suggests that Bitcoin didn't hit a real new all-time high because in 2021, one Bitcoin could buy you 37 ounces of gold. However, the most that one Bitcoin could buy this year was in March, and it was 34 ounces of gold. The conclusion is twofold. If you look from the perspective of technical analysis, nominal value of Bitcoin is more important because we do technical analysis based on the nominal values, nominal charts. We rarely use the real values for technical analysis. However, if you are more interested and concerned in Bitcoin's purchasing power, you should look at real all-time highs and real values of Bitcoin because the money supply can increase. We can have something similar to 2020 when money supply increased 40%. Then we can have high inflation rates for a couple of years, which will inflate everything. Similar to the goods that we find in stores that are inflated, Bitcoin is inflated as well. And that may be the reason that we have nominal all-time highs before halving, something that never happened before. However, we didn't have a real new all-time high before this halving a few months ago. So yeah, that's the material that I wanted to share with you. I guess it's interesting to look at Bitcoin from two perspectives, the value of Bitcoin from the perspective of real value, real new all-time highs, and nominal all-time highs. And as we saw, we are yet to have a real new all-time high in this rally. So thank you for watching. If you found this material interesting and informative, please like and subscribe. And please let me know in the comments whether you look only at nominal value of Bitcoin or you also look at the real value of Bitcoin. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.